Hello and welcome to Soda Anonymous. I'm your host, Soda Anonymous. Today's soda I'm going to review, Mexican Coca-Cola. Now I've got some notes here on Mexican Coke, so let's go over that real quick, shall we? Coca-Cola switched from cane sugar to high fructose corn syrup in 1985, around the time of the new Coke fiasco, and it's been that way ever since. For Americans who want to try Coke with cane sugar, the easiest way is to import it from Mexico. Mexican Coke has really caught on in recent years and is now readily available at some gas stations and Walmarts across the country. All right, well, with that out of the way, let's get on with the review. Now, first of all, I'd like to go over my history with the drink. I remember when this first started, getting big and people were talking about it. The original Coke flavor before they messed with it is coming back. With the cane sugar and how it tastes so much better. And it comes in this nice bottle, iconic design. And I remember I had it when I was younger, and I thought it tasted really good, and I enjoyed it. And I drank it pretty regularly for a while. Having to go out of my way to find it, and the fact that I couldn't buy it in packs and that they were kind of expensive sort of kept me from drinking it too regularly when I was younger. But as a treat, I did indulge myself. First of all, I'd like to talk about the bottle design. It's really interesting to have something that I've seen in movies and in older shows in my hands. It's a really iconic looking design. Supposedly it's based off of the seed pod of the cola nut tree where the Coca-Cola gets its flavor. And I've seen comparison pictures, and that's fairly accurate. When I was a kid, I thought it was supposed to look like the shape of a woman, where it's kind of an hourglass figure. It's a little bit of a sexy shape. I like it. It's a really cool design, and it's nice to hold. It's very iconic. This label is actually painted on, which I thought was really interesting. Most labels are either plastic wrapped or are paper. And they wiggle around or tend to come off or chip or something. The paint, you're not going to get that off unless you really scratch at it. So it's cool. But yeah, this is Mexican Coke. A lot of people are talking about it. This is a lot of people's favorite way to drink Coke. And let's give it a try. Let's give it a shot. It's not a twist top. It's actually the real deal. So got to use a bottle opener for this one. There we go. Save that for later. All right, first we're gonna give it a pour and a sniff test here. There it is. Same color we're used to, the brown color. It's got a nice carbonation to it. Let's give it a smell. All right, well, I'd say, it's got the baseline Coke smell, the dark, syrupy smell with the hint of lemony scent. But it's almost brighter. It's got a brighter smell. I'm trying to figure out a way to articulate this. Typically, Pepsi is the brighter cola beverage between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Coca-Cola tends to indulge in the deep flavor, while Pepsi is very bright, and that's why you have people who are really strongly in either camp. This is interesting because it's got the deep smell of Coke, but it's also got some bright notes. It's not quite the same as Pepsi. It doesn't smell like a Pepsi, but it's got a little bit more sweetness towards that camp. It's got the brighter smell. But anyway, it's really close to a regular Coke. It's just a little bit more, bright. All right, well, now I'm going to give it a taste here. All right, well, Mexican Coke down the hatch. Delicious. First things first, that's extremely carbonated, which is great. Glass bottles, from what I understand, keep their carbonation better. Just that it's so sealed, with plastic it sort of leaches out. Cans last a while, but not quite as long as glass bottles. So this is a fresh one. I would say it's close enough to Coca-Cola at first drink that I'm unable to articulate a difference without comparing it back to back. Luckily, I'm going to do that for you today. Now, there seems to be a common misconception that all Coke in glass bottles is Mexican Coke. Well, to an extent, that's true. The classic size, from what I found, is going to be Mexican Coke. You can tell it's Mexican Coke because it says Hecho in Mexico, made in Mexico, and it's got this stick-on label. That's how you can tell. However, there is a glass bottle variant with high fructose corn syrup. They come in these little dinky bottles. They're kind of cute. Same, similar shape, but obviously you're going to get a little bit less in this one. But this is the high fructose corn syrup that we have here. And I figured this was the fairest comparison. These are both ice cold. They're both in glass. They're about a month apart. The Mexican Coke is about a month older than the regular Coke. And if there is a direct back-to-back comparison in a difference, this is how I'll be able to taste it. So let's pop this guy open. All right, save that off to the side. I'm curious here. I just want to look at the two. Yeah, there is a little difference in the bottle cap. That's interesting. So the American bottle cap is sort of a matte finish. And then the Mexican bottle cap is more shiny. It's like car paint. It's interesting. All right, well, let's give it a sip here. That's really good too. Yeah. All right, well, we got the real sugar and we got the high fructose corn syrup. Let's give it a real analysis here. Okay. Water. Okay. All right, so they're very close, first of all. It's not this radical change that a lot of people make it out to be. I would say they each have their own strengths. So with the Mexican Coke, it's the standard Coca-Cola flavor, but the sweetness is stronger. It's the central point of the drink. And then everything else builds around it. So you've got the major sweetness. It's very good. And then from around it comes the deep, dark, syrupy flavor, the cola flavor, and just a hint of a bite. The high fructose corn syrup has a stronger cola flavor. So sugar, even though sugar is the predominant note in both of these, the sugar is less forward on the high fructose corn syrup version. And instead, you have a more focused cola flavor and a more focused bite. So I would say if you're looking for the stronger Coke flavor, In all honesty, it's the high fructose corn syrup version. And then if you want a sweeter, more forgiving, nicer Coke, it's not going to bite your tongue quite as much. It's a little bit lighter and sweeter, slightly more towards Pepsi. Yeah, Mexican Coke is your guy. So there's a definite difference. As to which I like more, I would have to say it's the high fructose corn syrup version, which I know is sacrilege to a lot of people. But if you've never had Mexican Coke before, I'd advise doing this test yourself and really giving it a shot, because these are both really good sodas, and they're fairly similar. But like I said, this one is a brighter, sort of lighter, nicer beverage, and then this is more of a dark, hard, grittier beverage. And yeah, because I'm a big Coke fanboy, I prefer the punch of this high fructose corn syrup version. And it could be because it's the one I grew up with. There are people who grew up with this version who are a little bit older, and this is what they remember from their childhood, and they people have an emotional attachment to Coke. I mean, the new Coke fiasco is proof of that. In blind tests, people preferred the taste of new Coke, but at the end of the day, just the emotional attachment they had to Coke, made them freak out. And I think it's the same way here. There's just something about having the good old-fashioned Coke that just feels right. And yeah, I really hope that we can get our own version in the States of a full sugar version. Hopefully in this kind of a bottle, because this bottle's beautiful, and I'd buy all my Coke like this if I could, just because it's so nice. It's nice to hold. It's heavy. I like it. But in terms of flavor, the high fructose corn syrup version is my preferred version, and I'm going to stick by that. All right, well, have you guys ever had Mexican Coke? Do you prefer real sugar or high fructose corn syrup, or does it depend on the drink? Let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, next time you're at your local supermarket, keep your eye out for one of these. Give it a shot. It's really good. If I'm going to give it a rating, I'd have to say it's a 9.5. It's almost a 10. It's really good, but it's not quite my perfect cola, the high fructose corn syrup Coke. But it's very good, and I'm sure for other people this is their preferred version, so give it a shot. Anyway, that about wraps it up. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.